So today I want to just show you a little bit of more information about the PowerDot. So I know that I showed you guys all of this stuff the other day, and I just want to kind of go over some of the stuff with you that I think is going to help you to get some ideas about how the system works and whatnot. I also want to show you some of the things here on the app, just so to kind of go over it. So the PowerDot ships in this little pouch like this with a couple connectors. So first you've got these, you've got two PowerDots. Now they sell it in two different ways. So one way is they have basically the Uno or the Duo. I bought the Duo, which is 2 pods, versus the Uno, which is just 1. The price isn't quite half for just 1 pod. So to be honest with you, I'm not sure why you would want to buy one, because obviously you have 2 legs, you have 2 arms, biceps, quads, calves, hamstrings, whatever you're going to put the PowerDots on. So I'm not really sure why you would want to buy just one. It seems to me that having the 2 is the most convenient, especially when the price of the Duo, the set of 2, is right around, you can find discounts online, they're right around 300 bucks. I think mine was about $305 with the tax and also some extra pads and things. The Duo is still around $199, so it's not even half, it's not half the price. So I really think you should just, if you're gonna look into this system, you should just buy the whole system. So there's that. It also comes with 2 other things. So one is are these cables that attach. Let me just show you how this system sets up. You've got really 3 components. You've got the pod itself, you've got your power cable, which come in 2 different lengths. So it's got the longer length and the really short length. The short length comes in really handy on things like rotator cuffs, biceps, things that aren't very big muscles, small things. So it comes in handy if you want to put them on your back. You might put one on one side, one on the other. You don't really need all of this length. However, I will tell you that I find myself using the longer length most of the time, just 'cause I grab and get them. So this end just plugs right in to, it's a little micro USB, which is also the way that you charge the cables. You just plug that right in, and then you have your 2 pads, your 2 connectors here. These are magnetic, so they easily attach, and then you've got your pads. So you get a set of 6 different pads. So you get the 2 small pads for the electrode, and then the bigger pad for the power unit. And then, like I said, all of these components, they just snap on magnetically. So you put these on. You can see on the app, it shows you exactly where to place these on your body. You turn it on, you set it up, you place these on, and it fires, it makes a triangle, it fires the electricity through those parts of you. In looking at the app, so let's just take a look at the app real quick. Several different things in here that you can focus on. You know, the big thing for me with this purchase was recovery. So I'm really looking at recovery instead of foam rolling, or instead of doing something like that after, and I found that this system has really helped. So I'm just going to go through a couple of the features here and show you on the app. So let me just, and we'll show you. So I opened up the app, and you're going to see at the top, you're going to see there's several different things. So you've got performance and wellness, you've got TENS, which is the pain relief program, which you talked a little bit about in the article, and then you also have a focus on, which if you click on the focus on, it will give you, based on different sections of your body, it will give you an idea of what you can focus on with that. So if you want to do a core workout or legs, it'll give you ideas for that. So most of the time I am using these everyday options. So active recovery every day, or extended recovery. So when I do a workout, I'm doing one of those 2 things after it, usually within a 2-hour window after, which is what it preferred, you know, what the preferred time is in the app. So I'll hit one of the 2 of those. Usually, most of the time I'm using the active recovery mode. It's only about 20 minutes long versus the extended recovery mode, which is quite longer. So when I click in to this, it'll tell me at the top, it'll tell me what this mode is used for. The difference between active and extended is the extended recovery is over a half an hour long. So if I do a night workout, or if I go to cross practice at Delaware Park at night, I get home and I'm going to watch TV and it's within the 2-hour window, I might just sit there and do the extended recovery, which takes 31 minutes or so. And then it gives you what muscle group you want to focus on. So most of the time I'm using the quads and the front of thigh ones. You can see on the app screen, you can see that it tells you where to place the pads. After a while, you just kind of get used to where to put them and do that. It also, so then you can start the system up. It also will show you some tips. So most of the time in the recovery modes, because it's a continuous stimulation, it doesn't really matter what position you're in. So you don't have to be sitting. You can walk around, you can do other things while you do this. A lot of the time, though, I put these on while I'm sitting because I figure I might as well be doing 2 things at once. So it'll show you where to do those. If you wanted to do recovery on a different part, like your calves or something, it'll show you as well where to do placement for that. Again, depending on the muscle group that you're going to use, sometimes it's better off to use the long or the short cables, because obviously, you don't want all this cabling on your calves. I mean, it doesn't make sense to have them all sitting down. One thing I did find is definitely best, change into shorts, real easy shorts. Then you can just put them on and take them off like that. Also in there, you can also see that there are some features under the performance tab. So if you look under performance, you'll see that there are 5 different programs for performance. As a cyclist, most of the time I am doing either the resistance strength or the last one, the explosive strength ones. Usually I'm using the explosive strength. And I'm doing them mostly on my quads. You'll notice if you go under some of the other muscle strengthening programs like muscular endurance or strength endurance, that quads aren't even one of the options there. Those are really, so I'm going to just look in there. You can see that, for example, the strength endurance, most of the options there are for your abs and stomach or your deltoids. They're mostly upper body kind of things. And if you try to click on your quads or front of thighs, it's going to say strength endurance isn't one of the programs for this. You really want to look at the resistance or one of those other programs. So a lot of times I'll use the explosive strength one for my quads, and actually quads in front of your thighs are one of the first options there. There's a couple different workout types. The workout type I use the most is about 20 minutes long, but really what it is it's stimulation to warm up the muscles, very similar to the recovery mode. But then what it will do is it will give you a constant shocking of the muscle and kind of a contraction. And so what you're supposed to do is resist while that contraction takes place. Most of the time, let's just look at the front of thigh thing. You can see where the placement is same as it is for your recovery. But if you look at the tips, you'll see that it says that you should do these seated with your legs in a 90-degree angle, and you should resist the leg contractions during the main phase of the stimulation. So it's about 5 minutes warm up, about 10 minutes of that main phase stimulation, and then 5 minutes of recovery at the end. And you can adjust the strength of the shock throughout that. So the program, there are 5 different programs. Like I said, I use mostly the explosive strength one or the strength, because I'm mostly doing leg things. I haven't really used it on upper body. I tried it on my biceps and things like that. I tried it on my wrist just to see, but I haven't really messed around with it too much. The last thing that I've used quite a bit is the TENS and pain relief. So with the TENS and pain relief, you'll see you can identify the area of your body that you want this on. When you click on it, so for example, the shoulder, which is where I had my injury, you click on it and you'll see, excuse me, that it's going to ask you what's the nature of your pain, and it'll say, is it acute, chronic, muscular pain? So you kind of go through these different little surveys, and as you go through it, it will ask you questions that will try to pinpoint the pain relief you get. So for example, it says here, is this pain related to an injury? So for example, when I hurt myself during cross, it was yes. And then it will ask you, what's your maximum level of pain? And it will give you an identifier for each of those things. So it goes 0 to 10, 0 being no pain. 1 says minimal, pain is very mild, it's barely noticeable. Most of the time I don't think about it. But when I first got hurt, my pain was somewhere around a 6 or a 7. So 7 was unmanageable, I'm in pain all the time, keeps me from doing most of my activities. So I set the program up that way I put the pads on as it showed me how to put them on, and I ran the full program. And then as you go through it day after day, you can focus in on where the pain is at that day, and it will target that type of pain. I've got to say, I don't really know how this thing works, but it worked really well for me when I did that, and I did it for 3 or 4 days, and honestly the pain was much better treated than it was when I tried to use Aleve or Motrin, or I tried to ice it. I still did ice it and use Aleve a little bit, but I gotta tell you, this really worked. It was kind of a constant stimulation. I could adjust the pain, I could adjust it based on my pain threshold, I could adjust the intensity of it, but I've gotta say that it really did seem to aid the relief. And I'm not sure if it aided any of the healing process, but it definitely did something to those pain receptors where I wasn't in constant pain when I was using this. And then the other thing, just to go back to the main thing, there is also some other wellness pieces. So if you want to just focus in on wellness on certain parts of your body, there's also programs to do that. I haven't really focused in on those ones too much. But they are there. There are also some things for massages and things like that. So you just kind of have to go through here and play with it. There's also a last mode that I have not used yet, but there is one for long flights. So if you go on a long flight, you can put these on, and it will run every 30 minutes or so on your calves, or if you have trouble with the back of your traps and your muscles on the back, you can put them on your calves or on the back of the muscle, and it's supposed to help to kind of massage you and keep the blood going and things like that. So I have not tried that yet. I'm not sure how, something that looks like this is going to get through on my luggage, but I don't really fly that much, so I'm not really that worried about it. So that's really it for the app. But I've got to say, I really have found this to be a good product. I feel like it helps me to recover from long rides and intense workouts. I have used the strength programs on days where I can't get a ride in. I do feel like it's helped me to maintain my strength. I really feel strong on the bike, and I've got to say, I haven't really been riding a whole ton since August, and I still feel like my leg strength is pretty good. I might get out 2-3 times a week at most nowadays to ride. I usually ride pretty hard when I do get out to ride, just because I know that I'm kind of crunched for time. So for example, if I go to cross practice, I will try my best to get in a good half an hour at practice, and then my race on Sunday or whenever my cross race is, and really make those high energy workouts. But on the days in between, I've been doing those strength workouts and just running them for 20 minutes or so. And I've got to say, I feel like it might not be building strength in my legs, in my quads and hamstrings, but it's at least maintaining strength on my off days. And that's kind of where I want to wrap this video up, is I think that this is a product that really could have a lot of potential. Definitely the massage and definitely the recovery piece is working. It's pretty easy to figure how that works. I mean, people have done these things like the chiropractor and whatnot for stimulation, and I'm sure it increases blood flow and stuff like that. The thing I really think that there could be a lot of potential for this program is if the manufacturer, if PowerDot, came out with some programs for strength training. So I know some of the other devices, the other muscle stim devices, have training programs, but something that would lay out, on this day, get in a good workout on the road. On this day, hit your quads for 20 minutes on the, on this particular program, on that particular program. Something with just a little more specific, because I have to be honest when I say when I'm using this product, I sort of feel like I'm just constantly experimenting, and I'm hoping that I'm not doing any harm. I have never churned it up enough where I felt that I was tearing muscle or hurting myself. I just would like a little bit more clarification on exactly how to use it. Outside of the recovery modes, those strength building modes, I think that there really is kind of a lack of documentation on their part. So I would like to see a little bit more of that, and just some tips on how can I use this for cycling. I mean, they have a couple articles on the blog about cycling, but I have to be honest where I say the information is really quite, it's really quite general, and I really don't feel like it's been really useful to me in trying to plan my whole workout program and implementing this into it. Definitely can implement it into it as a recovery tool, and definitely can implement it in there when I do have an injury or pain relief. But as actually a supplemental muscle building routine, it's not something that I really feel like I have a good idea of how to do that yet. And I think it would be really helpful for cyclists, especially maybe, to supplement some of the things. I mean, obviously we're out on the bike, we're not doing a lot of upper body. Can we do some stuff to strengthen our upper body, to strengthen our core using this, program? That's still to be determined. So there you have it. There's the system again. It's really simple. You've got your pads and your electrodes. With the PowerDots, the charge on these is amazing. You charge them up and it lasts, honestly, a month, probably, maybe even more than that. I have not noticed any lack of power coming out of these. And then you get the pads. The pads cost about $18. I find that I have pretty dry skin. I don't know if that's to the benefit with these pads, but I found that I can get over a month of use out of the pads. Some people have complained about lack of longevity on the pads. I haven't had that problem. I think I've got at least 6 weeks out of the first set of pads, and when I bought my set, I got 4 sets of pads, so I'm pretty happy with those. And that's it. I like the program. I like the system. I think it was a good investment for $300. It was money well spent, considering what you can spend on other things. Just considering the fact that you could easily spend $150 on tires. This is a program. I think it's gonna work for me for several years. The app is easy to use. It connects very easily. I just think it's a good system that I can definitely find a use for, and it's definitely something that I can see my money well spent on. So there it is. That's the PowerDot. PowerDot, this is called the 2.0 because it's the new system. I haven't seen any of the old ones out for sale, but definitely you want to try to pick up the new one. And check it out and let me know how it works out for you if you do. Take care.